guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got a fun and exciting punch needle project planned for you, and we're going to use the entire Laver punch needle set to make it. So there is a new punch needle in town. It has been for a few months now, but it completes the set that I already had. So now we have 3 different Laver punch needles for different weights of yarn. With this set you can basically do anything. You can use all types of yarn except for maybe these super bulky kind. It goes all the way down to like several strands of embroidery floss, which is really fine details, and you can also use chunky yarns. I sell these as a set in my shop, so you can now get them all together, or you can have just these two or just these two. I have several options available. I also offer the weaving needle. You can use this one as a threader for the punch needle, but this one will only work with the chunky needle, the regular needle, because it won't fit through the other ones. So for the other ones, for all of them, there is a metal wire which can be used as a threader, and there is also the option to get this one for the chunky needle. I'm going to use all 3 of them in this new project, and it's going to be a freehand project with a lot of texture and lovely yarns, and I'm very excited about it. I'm really going to show you the process behind making a design like this. So I have not drawn out any design yet, so I'm just going to start and wing it and show you my thought process behind some choices that I made, color choices, texture choices, shapes, composition, and hopefully that will be interesting to you and maybe you can learn something. I'm just doing it, winging it by my own intuition, so this is how I do it. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. I just hope to inspire you and maybe get you thinking that you can also do this. So let's get started, guys, and I hope you have fun. For this project we'll be using some gorgeous wool yarns. I've got some merino wool in different beautiful colors, and this is a thick and thin wool yarn. This is a variegated yarn, and another wool yarn in a lovely coral color, and this fine twisted yarn. And we'll be using some cotton string, and also this cotton string, which is going to give a really gorgeous texture to the piece. And also this one is from DMC. This is virgin wool, and it's ideal for punch needle. There are so many different color options available. I'll be using this number. I have a link in my description if you're interested to get a look at that. And we'll be using a 12-inch hoop, which is quite large, some Panama cotton, all 3 needles, and I'll be using the weaving needle, sharp scissors. I will also be using a embroidery needle for the cotton string, a pencil, some glue, textile glue to finish the back, and this one will help me get the Panama cotton attached to the hoop very well, and some textile scissors. So let's just get started. I'm going to unpack all these needles and prepare them. What you do for this needle is you unscrew it here. There is a little wheel, and then you can put in the needle. And because you can put it in really far or leave it out quite a bit. You can also vary in the length of the loops that you will be making. Then we have the fine needle, which is this one. It also comes with a threader, and this needle can be set to different heights, and this way you can, so you have to wait until you hear click, so you just turn it, push it in, and then click, and it's attached. So you can vary here in the length you have here, and that means you can make small loops or larger loops. And the chunky needle is basically the same one, also comes with a metal threader, and there you can also set it to different heights. So I'm thinking about making patches of color, and some of them will be with large loops and maybe some satin stitches, and I'm thinking about keeping a part of it white, which I will probably fill up with this thick and thin yarn, and keep the flat side, the flat stitch visible, and that will be a lovely contrast with the other side. With empty pieces like this, it's just best to get started. Start with this yarn, which is from Cowgirl Blues, and it has these gorgeous colors. It's not really chunky, so I think I should put it in the fine needle. So I'm just going to take my threader and push the loopy side in through the tip of the needle all the way down, and now I've got a little loop on this side, and through there I will push my yarn, and then I can pull it through. And then I also have to pull it through the little tip you can see here. So it came out on this side, and now I'm going to push the threader, put in the yarn, and then pull it through. So one thing really important with punch needle is to always make sure that your yarn has slack, so it can move through the needle really easily. If you have to pull hard, then it won't work. You will need a bigger needle. So I'm turning my needle, and then make sure I hear a click. So I'm keeping one open here. Maybe I don't like it and I can just pull it out, so that's fine. So I'm pushing in the needle from this side, and now I'm pulling it back, and then just go over a little bit and push it again. So let's just show you from this side. Going over a bit, just keeping my needle attached to the fabric, and then push it in all the way until the handle touches the fabric. Pull it back up, keep touching the fabric, and go back in until I can't go further anymore. If I don't like what I've done, I can just pull out the stitches like this, scratch it a bit, and then I can just start over, which is really great. I'm just going to make a patch here, and I think I'm going to go all the way until the edge and just punch a bit. So keep your hoop up, because otherwise you will punch the table, and also be careful not to put your fingers under it. That's pretty important too. On the edge it might be difficult a bit. Just push it as far as you can. So I'm just going to make a little shape here, and then just see if I should add on to the shape or not. And with this fine needle, punching is really subtle, easy. Just goes in. With that, I don't really have to push hard. It's really lovely to punch with. Sometimes with some chunkier yarn you have to push a little bit harder. But with this finer yarns you don't have to. And what I'm doing also now is I want the loops on the front to fill up the entire area. So as you can see here, there is space in between the loops. And over here there's not really a lot of space. Well, that's because I put the stitches exactly in between the other stitch. I'm laying bricks. So this is a stitch and I went in the middle there. Not under it, just next to it. So like so, just going like this. This is the middle, so I'm going in here. I'm not going under it, I'm just going next to it. On the other side it will look like it's in between the two. And this way you fill up the entire area. At the end here, I'm not filling it up really neatly anymore because the loops in the front are easily filling up the area. So you don't want it to be too compact together. You want the loops to be able to like have room and move a little bit. So let's move on to another piece. So I'm going to make this shape a bit more playful. Maybe something like this. You can just start sketching. I'm going to fill up the entire thing so you won't be able to see this pencil anymore. And then over here I can just make a shape like this maybe. Right, so which should we put next to this one? Maybe I would like to put some white actually. Maybe I'll put some white on the edge and put some green here. So for this one I'm going to use the smallest needle, and what I think I'm going to do is make them longer than these and then cut them, tuft them. So I'm going to set this pretty high. Make sure the wheel is closed very well. The yarn has slack. And now I'm going to start punching from the other side, but I want to follow the shape. So I'm going to wing it a little bit. Just feel with my finger. I'm going to make finger loops. I've got my yarn on the back going this way. I'm going to hold on to the yarn right here. I hope you can see it like this. Pull it down and then move up. So now this loop, because I held on to it, is slightly longer even. So I'm holding it. I'm not pulling on it, just holding it. And if I do the exact same thing all the time, these should become somewhat the same height. So let me do that again. So I'm going to hold on to it, pull my needle down, go back, go on to the next one, up, and just go on. I could even make super long loops by pulling on it, like this. Make them as long as you want, and then just go, and then you have super long loops. So finger loops are really versatile, but I don't want them to be that long. And just go up here. All right. So hold on to the yarn, pull down and push it up. So I'm eyeballing it because I have to follow this shape. On this side, I have a divined edge, so I can just punch from this side. hold on to the loops again, and this might take some practice. So I just finished this lovely bunch of finger loops, and on the back you can see that I started out by doing it quite neatly, and I do that on purpose to make sure that the edges are quite defined. And then I start by leaving some negative space because these loops are long and they are going to fill up the area easily. So I've got some longer loops and some shorter loops, and actually I kind of like it this way. So I'm not sure if I'm still going to tuft it. I'll leave that to the end. So I'm going to start with this patch. I'm thinking if this is also white, so over here I'm going to do white, then it's more or less going to look like a stream of color coming out here. But this white is different from that one. Or should I maybe do that here? Yes. So, new plan. I'm going to take out my needle and my cotton string, and I'm going to put some knots here, and I'm going to attach those with some other cotton string, which is a lot smaller. This needle has quite a big eye, but this string is still going to be a challenge. I'm going to push it down, make sure that all of the little strings are in them. Yeah, this is really chunky string and I love this cotton string. So I'm going to make a knot. You can attach it in all different ways, but I wanted to try this way. And then I want to put this knot right here. So leave it over the edge. So what I'm going to do is sew it on. I'm going to come up from this side, push it, pull it through, leave some tail, and then I want to make sure it's like this. And it's basically the same color. On the back I can make a knot. Edge. Okay, I think I'm going to go inside the knot and just pull it through. That way the knot will stay put. All right, so now I'm going to make another knot. Just look at it a bit and see what you like. And taking the needle again, and I'm going to come up here, so the cotton string is already attached, so I don't have to make a knot anymore. Just go in here, make sure this is quite tight. So I'm going to make another knot, and scissors for that. So cut it off. Put everything the way that you like it, and then you can attach it. And make sure it's really close to the edge here so you don't see it. And just I'm going in here. because these are basically the same color, you won't even notice it at all. I will have a new kit available in my shop, which will include all the yarns I used for this project. You will have more than enough to finish the exact same project. It will include all the needles, the complete punch needle pack, and also a piece of the Panama cotton, the 12-inch embroidery hoop, wooden embroidery hoop, as well as a piece of the warp string and the needle to attach the cotton string, as I showed in this video. It will also include the pattern of the project that I'm making right now, but it's more than enough. You can experiment with it yourself and make your own design if you so desire. If you head down to the description box below this video, you will find the link to my shop, and there you will find the kits and also some other kits and the punch needle sets, as well as the monk's cloth. You can buy it separately or in a kit. Just check it out. You will find the link in the description box below. I now want to make a bit of a patch right here, and I think I'm going to use this color. I'm going to use the fine needle. All right, so there we go. And because I'm going to make a satin stitch, I want the needle to be very long and make large hoops on the back, because these can hold the stitch the best. So I'm going back and forth like this, and just following the line and making the stitch larger as I go, making sure I push all the way down, because for this kind of stitch it's very important that the loops are long so they can grab hold of the stitch. So let me just show you the back. So here we have the loops, and they are being grabbed by the fabric, and that's how the stitch will stay in place. And for this, it's also very important to have slack, because if you don't, if you sit on it or anything like that, just the slightest bit of pull on the yarn will make you pull out these kind of stitches. So just a warning, this stitch works, but it works because it's in a art piece. So this is going on the wall, and usually nobody really is going to pull on it, touch it. But for a pillow, I'm not sure if it's safe. If something gets hooked under here, then you can probably easily pull it out. This is much safer. This won't get out as easily, but these are kind of fragile. On the back, I have these longer loops. They are being grabbed by the fabric, so they're secure. And on the front, I now have this patch. I'm going to leave it like this. Maybe I like to add something to the shape, but maybe I should add more of these. I don't know, but I always like to let things sink in and see how they progress, evolve once I put more things on here. So I'm still wanting to make like this shape, something like this. Maybe I can just do this. I'm going to make this shape next. Something like this perhaps, and then I maybe I'm going to put some white here as well. And the question is now, will I add more texture, or will I put in some flat stitches, and which colors should I use? Okay, so I'm going to make this patch now, and pink that I've got right here. And since this is already super bulky, small loops. So first I'm going to outline the shape that I made, and then I'm going to turn over my piece and punch it from the other side. I'm filling up this area, and I wanted to show you. So for the edges I made pretty small stitches for a few rows, and as I get closer to the middle section I'm increasing the size of my stitches. Otherwise, as I said before here, it will get too compact. So I did the small stitches so I get this really defined edge, and then as I get to the middle I will make them slightly bigger. I'm not really skipping areas like this because these loops are smaller and they won't take up as much space. Let me show you how I pull out the needle. So hold on to the yarn and then pull the needle out on the back. So you've got this big loop here, just keep holding it, turn it over, and then take your sharp scissors and cut it off right here. So what you can now do is take this tail and pull on it until it becomes the same size, the loop, and you won't see it anymore. You know what I said about composition and color, it's also a bit about balance. So this color is quite similar to some of the pinks that are in here, so it comes back and that brings balance. So what I'm also going to do is bring this color back to this patch right here. I think because I have a lot of fringe right here, I might like it if I also have some fringe tufting. I think I'm really going to do tufting here. So maybe I'm going to make finger loops like these and then tuft these. So I'm just going to fill up this area that I drew out here, something like this. And then we're going to make finger loops, which meant I will hold on to them. I'm not going to pull on them. Holding on to them makes them long enough. I'm bringing back this color, but in a different texture. So it does bring the balance, but also texture and interest. Okay, something is going on. Maybe there is, oh, look. So I felt that it couldn't move freely, and that's because there is this giant knot here. How did that happen? Finished this section, but in the end I decided not to do this whole thing. I did it a bit and I noticed that it was way too much curl for this piece, so I kept it to this tiny little section. So now I'm going to tuft it, and that basically means getting these loops and cut them in half. You could also just cut off the top, but that will shorten your loops, and this way they will stay long. It's important to have sharp scissors for this, so these are really good for that, and small ones because you have to get in between the loops. So I did leave a link to these in my description box if you're interested. Now I can, if I want to make some shorter. So there is this cute little patch. Okay, so I'm thinking that I want this color here, and then for this patch I might do some of this white, and I'm going to do some longer loops here as well. So for this one I need the biggest needle, which is the regular or chunky needle as I like to call it, and for that one I can use my weaving needle and put it through the eye, which is really easy. I have my weaving needle threaded and I can push it through the back, pull it out, go through the loop, and there you go. Unfortunately, it only works with the biggest needle. So I'm going to set it to, I think, the longest setting. So I'm twisting it, pushing it back, and then until I hear the click. This is going to be done from the back as well. Everything I do here is from the back, except for this part. Pushing it out. As you can see, it's quite long. Let's see how long they will be. So I'm going to follow this line that I made earlier. And once I've done that, I can turn my piece over. Now I'm going all the way along this edge and then fill it up. Okay, so I finished this little patch and now I'm going to do this section, and when I'm done with that I'm going to do this white and then I'm done. So what should I do with this one? I could maybe make it also into a satin stitch. That might be cool to do a satin stitch here as well. Yeah, so let me think about this shape for a bit. I like this one. Maybe something like this. So I'm going to use the fine needle for this one, and it's set to a long setting. Right, so here we go. Okay, so I could fill up this patch exactly with the little skein that I had, exactly. So I was afraid here that I didn't have enough, but I did, and I'm really happy. I'm going to use this yarn and fill up this entire area with the flat stitch, and for that I'm going to use the chunky needle, and I'm going to make circular patterns like I did in some of my other pieces. So I'm going to set this needle less high because we're just going to use the flat stitch. I don't really like putting it on the smallest one because I feel that the loops in the back are so small that it pulls out too easily. So I'm setting it to the third one. working on this area for a bit, and as you can see, I'm making circles like this and working my way to the inside, and then I did this shape and this shape. And because it's thick, thin yarn, you get a lovely structure in it. And I think it looks pretty cool actually, like this. Maybe for a next piece, I might just make something like this and then fill this with a different color or something. It looks really cool. Anyway, I'm going to continue making these kind of scallops, and then I will get back to you. So as I went on with these scallops, I felt like there was too much white and maybe I needed some color at the top of the piece. So what I did, I made a photo and put it in my iPad, and with the app Procreate I can adjust some things. So let me show you. So this is my work right now with the white clouds almost. And so what I was thinking, that well, this is a lot of white if I'm going to fill this all up with these clouds, and I felt like this white over here is maybe making it too white. So what I thought, maybe I should add another color and make that yellow, so that will be in this color. It's more like a ochre caramel color. And I also thought about adding satin stitches all the way through here, also in this ochre color. And so I tried drawing that a bit, and that would look something like this. So yeah, I'm now in doubt what I should do. Maybe this is too much. Maybe I should not make it yellow anymore, or maybe I should make it in a different color. So I also tried to add another patch of this green, maybe in a different form, not in the finger loops. This app is really helpful in making these kind of decisions. So this is what I had in mind at first, but when I look at it, it feels a bit too bland. Add it like this, then I definitely feel like this shouldn't be white right here. Maybe the yellow. Then it's more like a patch of color here, and then the rest is the white color. But I also kind of liked this. Go over the edge here, which I'm planning to do. I'm not sure if it's going to work yet. I have to cut off the fabric already, so that's what I'm going to do. Textile scissors. Decided to do a whip stitch here, and I'm going to use this gorgeous wool silk blend for that. First I wanted to try if I can go over the edge, but that will be difficult for this area with the closure right here, and also maybe it would be nice if it just fits in this thing. I'm sorry about the noise, guys. My neighbors are doing reconstruction work. I'm taking a long piece, so I'm taking my needle for this because I feel like this would be such a long stretch to do with the punch needle. It's possible, I think, but yeah, I think it would be nice to do this with a embroidery needle. I like working with both. So I'm starting somewhere in the middle because I want to have a nice guide for a straight line. I think if I start here, I might go crooked. So I'm going here. Let's see if I'm all the way straight. And then I'm going in as close to the edge as possible. Pull it all down. Like that. And now I'm coming up on this side, right here, next to it. And then going down again. And close to this one. And now I can make a little knot with the tail I had here. And then I'm coming up here again. I'm trying to make this a nice edge. So I'm looking where I'm coming up. So I think it's nice to work with different mediums. So I'm using my punch needle and I'm using my embroidery needle to make this part and this part. And by combining different crafts, you get gorgeous things. So I'm just going to finish this and then I'll get back to you. So guys, that was it for this project. I really hope you enjoyed it and you had fun and maybe you learned something or you got inspired and you want to start something for yourself. So be sure to check out the link in my description. It leads to my shop and there you can find the link to this kit as well as some other kits if you like to try something else. Be sure to check out my channel for other videos like this. I have a lot of inspirational and informative videos about punch needle but also some other fiber arts. Subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to like this video if you liked it. I hope you did, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.